So my name is Daniel. I'm the head of cloud infrastructure for Spuul. Spuul exists since 6 years. We're lucky enough to start our journey directly on AWS. So we were using only cloud since ever. So who is Spuul? Spuul is a leading OTT player. We are shipping Indian movies, TV shows, and live TV to over 50 million of users, and that around the globe, and on almost any device you can imagine. And adding to that challenge, we will start soon to provide non-Indian content also. So why did we build a serverless data lake? So we wanted to start to collect more than 100 events, and that are coming from the devices, they're coming from microservices, they're coming from different AWS tools. We needed the flexibility of ingestion. When I mean flexibility of ingestion, means don't be bound to a schema. And we need the flexibility of consumption. It means that anyone can consume the data. You don't need a doctorate of whatever, a doctorate of SQL to be able to consume. And we didn't want to have to scale storage. For the future, we want to be able to provide this data to third parties, so be it internal third parties or external third parties. And most of all, we don't want to manage servers. So keep it trending, hashtag no more servers. It's like the theme of the day. So how did we build that? So we started with the ingest point API gateway that will feed the data into Kinesis streams. So the idea of API gateway is to provide a simple HTTP endpoint with our own custom authorizers. Then this Kinesis stream will trigger a Lambda function that will ingest either to S3 directly or to Firehose, depending on use cases. And Firehose will aggregate the data in 5 minutes, 100 MB, 5 MB files into what we call our raw storage. This raw storage then again triggers something that will combine all the data to build our final data lake with the whole fledged data. Then comes into play the glue crawlers. They will catalog the data, transform it eventually to Parquet, or the data lake could be read directly from Athena, or even be shipped to Elasticsearch or to Druid for direct analysis or API integration for third parties. The Parquet storage, which is a transformed data from our data lake, can be fed into Athena and Redshift or Redshift Spectrum for bigger analysis, long-term storage. The first Kinesis stream also allows us to do real live data processing through either analytics or the tools, and then feed CloudWatch alarms or CloudWatch metrics to get info about things happening on our apps in a real lifetime. So that's like really quickly explained. It's a bit more complicated than that. But the lesson learned about that is to be able to manage all these little Lambda functions, use a framework. Don't start to have your scripts left and right. Be it SAM, serverless, or Apex up, doesn't matter. Just use a framework. Keep the raw format data all the time so you can replay, you can debug. Convert your data to columnar format. That allows you to minimize the number of data transferred to your end tools. Partition your data. Again, that allows you to select only what you need. Be it partitioned by date, which is the default, or even add your own filters. And when you do selects, don't do select star, specify the columns you load. The less columns you load, the less data you have to transfer. Create files of about roughly 100 MB files in your buckets that will allow to reduce the number of S3 API calls. The data, compress the data in a data lake that will reduce your cost of storage, but it doesn't add much on the cost of uncompressing it. And use Lambda for all the automation. You have a file that receives in S3, trigger Lambda to do something. And with that, I've done my part, and I give it back to Uni.